They found that their classical laws were breaking down, and they just, to their dismay and surprise, these laws just didn't work for them anymore. So a group of very inventive physicists, among them Heisenberg, Schrödinger, Bohr, they're all very well known, Einstein also, very cleverly managed to use the Ludwig Boltzmann's idea of atoms to continue to explore what other sorts of principles could they bring into play?
Right.
And by using this concept of unseen atoms and applying probabilistic concepts to them, they were able to arrive at a set of laws that worked, a set of rules for calculating the results of measurements and processes that they would perform in the laboratory.
Hey guys, it's Matt. Was recently watching the channel I've talked about before, New Thinking Aloud with Jeffrey Mishlove. I have respect for Jeffrey Mishlove. It is amazing how many channels and people I respect and people that have great knowledge don't see the 800-pound George Bush gorilla creature sitting on everybody's lap, but that's not the purpose of this presentation. The purpose of me talking about this is I was watching, what was the physicist he was interviewing? Ruth Kastner, if I remember correctly. That was a 2016 interview he brought back recently, just in the last week or so. That's why I was watching it. But what's amazing to me, these physicists, they don't know, I don't want to say they don't know any more than these old physicists that came up with quantum mechanics and quantum physics in the 1800s. They were born in the 1800s, and they're still going back and citing these guys as if they've accomplished nothing. Now, have I listened to every lecture? Am I on the cutting edge of every trade publication put out by the quantum physics and the quantum mechanics field? No. But in listening to these people speak every 6 months, you know what they've basically learned since these guys born in the 1800s? Squat. The point is, they go back and quote. I'll show you these people that have been dead for almost 100 years. They keep going back and quoting these old physicists. She did it in the interview in 2016, and you want to scream out at these people and say, Ruth, you seem like a nice person, sweetie. But you have to look at Jeffrey's title, New Thinking Aloud. It's time you physicists start practicing it. They keep trying to take the same square peg and they keep trying to jam it in the same round hole. Not for a few months, for 100 years. It's like, you've got to be kidding me. Haven't you guys learned anything since this grand technology came in and the Apple iWatch and all this stuff? They're still going back and talking about the same things and the principles of these guys that were born in the 1800s. See, here's the thing, it's very simple to understand where science and these egghead physicists are. Matt, you're an egghead. Oh yeah, so what? Yeah, everybody that's bald isn't an egghead. It's a way of saying something about a scientist that thinks inside of a box. Hello? They understand the models. They can use quantum mechanics and quantum physics to make predictions, to have breakthroughs in chip circuit boards. We're just going to push away for a second. It's part of the truth community that demons came through interdimensional portals and handed it to, just for now, let's just assume regular people came up with that. They can use their predictive models and what they understand about quantum physics and quantum mechanics to create the wondrous new tools of this not milk. But they still don't have they have no idea how it works. And they're not willing to go in any new places. For some reason, they're constrained as not milk servants or on the download or on the frequency. They're cognitively constrained or they're NPC constrained into practicing what Jeffrey pushes forth in the title of his own channel, New Thinking Aloud. Ruth and other physicists, new thinking is allowed. You know, they don't ever go into the places where we go. Okay, guys, this is a bad example, but I'm not sure I was clear in the last section, and this is no truth or child left behind. No truth or child left behind in one single classroom. I got to make sure everybody understands so we can move forward together. So 1 minute, guys. What I'm saying, what Gus is saying is regarding quantum mechanics, quantum physics, by the way, they seem to be able to be used interchangeably. Why the difference in the name then, Matt? I don't know. I don't know. Unless you're a real Princeton PhD egghead, you can use them. The layman can use quantum mechanics and quantum physics interchangeably, basically meaning the same thing to the non-egghead. So in this example, say quantum mechanics, we're going to use that term, is a music box. Okay, top right. It's the one that Happy Jack and Gangs in New York tried to steal from Leonardo DiCaprio's friend Johnny. Yeah. It's not my favorite tune. And then he threw it down on the floor and broke it. Say this is quantum mechanics. Now, let's do it open. I'll say open or closed. They understand what will come out of it. They know the notes that will come. This music box is quantum mechanics. Not identical, but put your hands out. They know the notes. They understand the crank. They know the megahertz or the hertz of the notes. What's coming next? They can use it to predict. They can use this music box, which in this example is quantum mechanics, quantum physics, to make another music box or to make a speaker or to do whatever. But if you ask them, how does it work? They have no, I mean, it's easy enough to see the damn tines hit the little metal pimples. They have no idea how it works. They just know the tune that will come next, and then they use it to make their not-nil tools. They don't have, or maybe if you want to picture it closed, the crank and the music comes out, it's probably better to picture it closed because it's pretty easy to see how it works if you open it up. And they have opened it up. Remember, or they say they're trying to open it up with this CERN nonsense. No, I don't really believe what they say is going on here for anybody new to this channel. I don't need to lecture in the comments. But if this music box is quantum mechanics, they understand all these pieces, but in terms of the core of it, as simple as how the tines hit the damn blackhead pimples, they have no idea how the thing makes music, and they haven't learned a damn thing since these guys were born in the 1800s. So I'm going to show you these guys now, the fathers and mothers and Elon Musks of quantum physics.
Paradoxically, the clouds of possibility, if you will, that are the electrons bound to the atom, to the nucleus, are pure possibility in a sense, and yet without that strange behavior of the possibilities, we would not have the stable matter that we do. So it's, in a sense, those apparently insubstantial possibilities are the most potent thing in the world because they form this rigid matter. And without those, everything would collapse in on itself.
Possibility clouds.
Right.
Talking about possibility clouds still after 100 years. Let's cycle through she mentioned these guys in the interview. David Bohm, born in 1917. Max Born, she mentioned, born in 1882. Who's next? Niels Bohr, the famous Einstein-Bohr debates, born in 1885. These are the people that are still being referenced and quoted. And here we go again with Schrodinger's cat. We hear about that damn cat in a box one more time. He was born in 1887. Ludwig Boltzmann, 1844. Was there even before electricity? How could he have known a damn thing about any of this stuff before? What? Werner Heisenberg. Oh, he's a new guy, a contemporary. 1901. He was born. Max Planck, she doesn't mention. The only one doesn't mention. 1858. The only one she doesn't mention is Max Planck, considered the father of quantum mechanics. I'm just going to cycle through the same names here. These are not new images or new people coming up. It's the same ancient group of vampires that all the modern seems to be. Hey guys, look, I don't read all the trade journals on this. Every 6 months or so, I watch a lecture. Just watched one a day ago, and here's this. Okay, it's 2016. Has there been incredible breakthroughs? No, they're still talking about the same thing, getting nowhere, these physicists. And they're making their $450,000 being published. They're just publishing. They're probably stealing the original manuscripts from Boltzmann, stuff he wrote on the pot, and publishing it and getting their tenure and shit in their universities. Just stealing ideas from these guys and putting it out as their own, like Milli Vanilli or something. How do these, what was her name? Ruth? How do you, and these 1,000 physicists that are like the top of Columbia University and Brown and Dartmouth, how do you keep a job? You're just going back and quoting guys that were born like 2 seconds after Aristotle and Socrates. I mean, come up with something new. these physicists are bound. They seem bound to their box thinking, and they give themselves away. They'll never, ever go into a realm of saying this must be some sort of matrix, or this must be sort of illusory reality. I mean, look, again, have I listened to every single lecture? And what's that guy's name? He's another B, Bostrom. Or don't tell me about Bostrom and the one not Nilk puppet that's out there trying to get ahead of it, trying to take our ideas that this is some sort of matrix or illusory reality. Those guys like Neil Bostrom or whatever. This is another one of the Bs. He's just, these not Nilk, they try to get in front of where we're going and then steer our Titanic off the cliff. So don't tell me about Bostrom. Anybody that's associated with MIT or one of these Harvard-type institutions, they're never going to do big thinking on our behalf. And the moment they ever do big thinking on our behalf that actually gets, quote, humanity somewhere, they'll be thrown out on their ass, declared insane, put onto some Shutter Island or something. Like Ruth in that interview that I showed you with Jeffrey, she'll never just come out, or any of them will never just come out and say, Jeffrey, we haven't gotten anywhere in 100 years. Our understanding of what happens at the very small completely breaks down. It's beyond, quote, human understanding, as is the very large, but we'll talk about that some other time. We're coming to the conclusion, Jeffrey, that we must live in some sort of illusion or matrix. I mean, there is really no other conclusion, but they hate to go there. They never go there. They're always trying to bring it back into the physical, bring it back into the explainable inside the physical. It's been saying quantum physics, I'm not going to do it. The over here, it's been saying for 100 years, I'm not explainable. Stop trying to explain it using your bookends, your reality bookends inside your MIT corporate library. It doesn't fit. Now, Matt, then you're going to the same place that Elon Musk. I have to address the back of the Amish classroom every time. They'll start spitballing me. Elon Musk and Neil of the Grass-Fed say we're an illusion. So you're saying the same thing. Oh, you must be some sort of shill. No, what they do is they will try to get in front of the conversation. Elon Musk will then start saying we live in some sort of an illusion or some sort of matrix, so then they can direct the conversation the way they want it to go, towards the illusion they want, bringing the consciousness of a real person down into the digital, the zeros and ones. There's the natural illusion that's probably originally designed to be very pure, and their corrupted, adulterated illusion. Get inside the damn Netflix series Upload. That's what they want. And then you also have the reverse psychology and the dumbass spitballers in the back of the truth community saying, well, Elon Musk says illusion matrix, and Neil of the Grass-Fed, and Matt says, and if A equals B and B equals A and then A equals C, oh, Matt must be a shill. That's how stupid some of these people are. Hey, stupid. Can't sit here. And somebody actually, what was it, a comment in the last video said, Matt, you talk too fast. You're starting to sound manic. I don't even know what that means past the Bangles or whatever. Look, it's a manic Monday, but it's actually a Wednesday here. My trash pickup's tomorrow, and I'm terribly stressed out. I'm going to be missed 5 weeks in a row. You should see the dirty diapers that are overflowing here. It's not quite the worst parts of Bangalore and Delhi yet, because they do come sometimes the next day and take part of my trash. But he says, Matt, you're sounding manic. Slow down. No, I'm not going to slow down, because you know what's available to you? 0.75. I get on the 1.25 bathroom boys, and I'm going to have to find a way to get on the 0.75 people that attempt to slow me down. But ultimately, I serve you guys. Would you like this better? Let's take a look at, who do we have? David. Boom. Oh, new screen. Max Bourne. Do you want me to slow down? Really? At least this guy, John Nash, represented in the movie A Beautiful Mind, at least he did something. He taught the Not Nilk minions how to collude together even better. He won a Nobel Prize for it, too. How to collude so they all help each other as they help themselves, which became the economic model to screw you all over. At least he did something. I don't know. If you say you are the top physicist at Columbia University, or everywhere Obama went, Harvard, Occidental, Punahou in Hawaii, Cass in Jakarta. You're the top physicist in all the places where Obama didn't really go. How do you make a living? I mean, well, I know the answer to that, but if anything were real, you wouldn't be able to make a living because your boss would come in and say, okay, maybe not just you, but what have you and your little cronies, what have you developed in terms of your understanding? Well, we can use it to make these predictions and have new not nilk tools that get out to Apple and Microsoft. Okay, that's great, but I didn't ask you that. Sit down. I didn't ask you. This is say if things were real and university chancellors and provosts, whatever that is, really cared about moving knowledge and wisdom forward in their universities. Say, fine, you give it to the corporations and they can make more not nilk tools, but your fundamental understanding of quantum physics. Tell me what you guys have learned in the last 5 years. Nothing. Absolutely. Caught my first tube today. No. What have you learned, you guys here? We're paying you $450,000 a year plus full benefits, 10 years, life insurance programs from MetLife and Snoopy. What have you done? What have you done in the last 15 years? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Okay, but I haven't attended all the lectures. Maybe at the fringe here or there, but in terms of core understanding, it's as good as catching your first tube today. They don't know. They should all be fired. They shouldn't even be given vendor jobs at Citizens Back Park in Philadelphia selling peanuts and hot dogs. But these guys, they're experts. All you have to do to be an expert at Princeton in quantum physics, and probably Douglas he's a physicist at UAP. He's going to get on me about this probably. He understands this shit better than me. But all you got to do is be able to quote guys that were born in the 1800s. Why didn't I take? Why I didn't get involved in that? I couldn't do the math. I couldn't. If you got to be able to do the math, which is meaningless because the math doesn't translate into understanding. They gave me this complicated calculus. I just raise my hand and say, why do I have to do this? This math, you can create more not nilk tools with this math that immediately will be given to Microsoft and Apple and Chinese companies with suicide nets. But what does this do in terms of our understanding of the core of what John Nash here would say, the governing dynamics of how this quantum physics works? This math is predictive, but it doesn't do shit in terms of our understanding. So I'm not taking this math test. I'd have to pretend I was taking a stand because I'd be too stupid to do one of the equations. I'm more of a verbal, if you haven't guessed, a verbal vocabulary, what's coming out of my mouth person. In terms of math, oh my goodness. Simple business calculus at Penn State. I mean, there's this guy across the hall from me. He didn't have to study, he just knew every calculus equation. He could just do it. His mind just clicked like that. I didn't know what I was doing. I'm studying like, what do you do when you move this over this? Like all I knew were the rules. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And so I'm not a math person like John Nash here. But maybe that's kind of the point. If you're completely a math person, you keep trying to put it into that box, then you're never going to have an understanding of what's really going on with quantum physics. And I think once one of these professors, a certain type of professor or somebody that works at Harvard or Columbia is put into that job and they know to stay within the boundaries, once somebody starts thinking really big, some of the places we go into those sorts of areas, it wouldn't be tolerated inside a not nilk puppet factory like the Ivy League. It wouldn't be tolerated. They'd be thrown out on their ass or sent to Shutter Island. So it's kind of like if you can do the math so well, then you're that type of person and you get involved in a not nilk puppet institution, then you can't think big. That's why the person like Ruth will never come forth and say, it's really looking like we live in a matrix. Now she'll subtly go there and they'll hint at it and then they'll try to cover it up and they'll try to pull it back into reality. They just can't go there. And the Mandela effect is another big one, guys. You would at least, if you were really trying to get to the bottom of quantum physics, you would say at some point, of course, they wouldn't be allowed to do this. They wouldn't be allowed to study this inside the Ivy League puppet factories. They wouldn't be allowed to ask these questions. But if anything were real, someone would say, this is crazy, but we have a million people now saying of alternate realities, and I don't know, let's do some sort of a study and ask them questions and see if we can gain some sort of insight. And they would say to themselves, I don't see the Mandela effect, but they would at least, instead of just declaring people crazy, and I don't even think people like Ruth, they probably don't even know about the Mandela effect. Hey, Ruth, in terms of understanding, what's actually happening, there might be nothing better to look at in everything you've ever looked at since all these guys were born in the 1800s than the Mandela effect, whether you can experience it directly or not. But they obviously they can't go there in terms of real understanding. Maybe the creeps, Matt, these creeps in their back rooms, their sequential incarnations, they do understand it, but they'll never let it come out in a university or an academic standpoint where it could be shared with the masses. Maybe that's it. But either way, maybe it'll sound arrogant, but I'm including you and me, you listening and me. People like us, I'm not going to do it, but people like us will always be able to get closer as to how things truly work at the John Nash governing dynamics level than these damn eggheads that keep trying to put it in their damn equations. Stop it. Just stop it, Ruth.